Hello there, aspiring ISCOs and ISCAs. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Coach Jimmy of Logos Educational Resource Center. If you want to find out what we do, I'm going to leave a link below so you can check out our Facebook page. This is our maiden video, but I'm not going to talk about Logos. Instead, I'll tour you to another website, Filipino, which offers excellent resources for the UPCAT review. But before I do that, I want to make a disclaimer. I'm not affiliated with Filipino in any capacity whatsoever, whether personal or official. But I appreciate what they do, and I want to complement whatever they're doing for our country. Now let's proceed to our agenda. Um, I'm going to share my screen so that I can lead you step by step to the website and assist you in looking for the resources that you need for the review. All right. This is all you have to type in your browser. You type Filipino, Filipi, and you spell no as know.net. All right, so Filipino.net. All right, that's how the know is spelled, Know. All right, this is their homepage. You're going to find the reviewers here in the last tab on the right side. As you can see in the drop-down menu, there are 3 reviewers here. The first one is for those who are interested to enter government service. That's the civil service exam. The second one is for those who are interested in entering the medical school, those who want to be doctors. So this is the qualifying exam for medicine. And the last one, UPCAT reviewer, this is probably what you'll be interested in. All right, let's click that. So this is the UPCAT reviewer. Scroll down, you're going to see here. All right, there's a table of contents, so it's easy to navigate through this website. Now, almost right on top, you'll find the UPCAT reviewer. You'll have to go through the readings here. I'm not going to discuss this in this video. You just have to go to the website now that you know how to find it. Just go to this website, read these materials. Don't skip them. All right. But for my purposes, I just want to focus on this is just the first video. So I'd like to focus on the math first. All right. The UPCAT has 4 components: math, science, language proficiency, and reading comprehension. It's always like that. So let's start with the math because this is where students usually have a hard time in answering the questions. So let's focus first on the math section. Now, some of those who have been to this website probably are not aware that there is an answer key because I went through some comments and I found there some of the comments there were looking for were asking questions like how do we know that our answer is correct, or uh, I want a more detailed explanation. Actually, it's here. You just have to know where to look for it. So UPCAT Math Practice Test, this is just a short test. I think 15 or 20 items. We'll find out later. Now, this is the answer key. UPCAT math answer key. This is the answer key to the math practice test. And it gives you not just the correct answer, because this is a multiple choice test, right? It doesn't just give you the correct letter choice, but it also explains how, it explains the solution to each and every problem. Now, the last one is the UPCAT math exam. This is longer, probably 60, 50, or 60 items. I don't know. I haven't really gone over this. But for this video, let's just focus on the math practice test. So let's click that. All right, so this is the math practice test. All right. Uh, I would advise that so that you can save on time, be familiar with the directions. Even before taking the test, you should already know how to answer each section of the UPCAT. But for now, let's go through the directions. The mathematics subtest will test your ability to solve quantitative problems quickly and accurately. Analyze each problem and select the best answer from the multiple choices. The practice tests are organized around 5 fundamental math concepts that will be included in the actual UPCAT. Arithmetic and number sense. So this is what you went through in grade school. Algebra from probably grade 7, grade 8, those years. Geometry, trigonometry is probably grades 9 and 10, and statistics. To mimic the actual test conditions, you are not allowed to use calculators. Therefore, when you're doing this test, when you take any test that you want to practice on for the UPCAT, or for any exam for that matter, except the SAT, of course. But for all the local entrance exams, no calculators are allowed. So you'll have to learn how to, let's say, do the operations manually, like division, multiplication, all that stuff. Because of CAT is a time-pressured exam, we also recommend using a timer when taking the practice test. So for the timing, the UPCAT is the most generous among the top universities in terms of the time allotted for the math questions. In the UPCAT, you might be given more than a minute to answer each question. But my suggestion is that you target just 1 minute. If you can answer the question in less than a minute, better. All right, I'm going to start with this question. We're not going to cover all these questions. All right, let me just browse through the entire thing and let's see how many questions there are in this practice set. Um, all right, this is the last item, I think. So it's 20 items. All right, and it covers the subjects that were mentioned earlier. Now for today, I just want to focus on the first question, but I'm going to introduce questions related to this, the one that I use in my reviews. All right, so the first question is an average problem. By the way, I showed you already that, let me see, here you can find the answer key. All right, if you click this, it will open the answer key. Now, I've already done that earlier, so let me just show you how the answer key looks like. All right, this is the answer key. All right, so we'll use this together with the question, and then I'm going to discuss with you other ways of solving the problem other than the one presented here. But every question has a solution. All right, what I'm going to do is simply complement what they already put here. All right, let's start with the first question. By the way, all questions are multiple choice type. And that's the reason why it's not necessary to know the exact answer all the time. Sometimes you can do some guesswork with a good chance of getting the answer right. That's also discussed in this website. So read their tips on how to answer multiple choice questions. All right, let's go over the first question. The average of 7 numbers is 24. The smallest of the numbers is 2 and the largest of the numbers is 31. What is the average of the middle 5 numbers? And according to the score key, it's C, which is 27. Now let's verify that. By the way, when you're doing a practice test, they also commit errors sometimes. That's why it would be good to check your solutions. All right, because sometimes it's the given answer. It's a typo. It's just a typo. All right, so the correct answer must be this choice C, 27. Now let's see how they solve the problem. Begin by setting up an equation representing the average. So this equation that they have written is supposed to give you the average. Now let's review the concept, the formula. There's a formula for finding the average, which is this, the general formula. So average, let me just abbreviate it to AVE, is equal to the sum of the numbers, the sum of the terms, divided by the number of terms or the number of numbers added, which I'll represent here as n. So this is the formula for finding the average. The total of the numbers divided by the number of items that you use. All right, now using this, so the sum would consist of, uh, by the way, x here represents, it does not represent a specific number. This is an average, all right? The x there is the average of 5 numbers, all right? So the problem says the smallest of the numbers is 2 and the largest of the numbers is 31. So you're given 2 numbers and the average of 7 numbers, which is 24. Now, what is the average of the middle 5 numbers? So this is the one that is represented by x. So x represents, the x here represents the average of the 5 middle numbers. So that's what x here stands for. All right, I'm going to proceed from here. So just take note that the 2 here represents the smallest of the numbers, which is mentioned here. And 31 is the largest there. Now take note. So let me add this already. 2 plus 31 is 33. 33 divided by 7. I'm going to use a fraction bar instead of the division symbol. Now, why divided by 7? Because x here consists of 5 numbers. All right, the 5 middle numbers. So that's 5 plus the smallest and the largest. So that's so your n, the number of items which make up this average is 7. And then that's equal to 24. Now, where did the 24 come from? Here, the average of 7 numbers is 24. All right, so this follows exactly the formula that's here. And then the rest is just mechanical, all right? You'll have to solve for x. Now, when you are solving, when you are isolating a variable, you have to reverse Pemdas. I'm pretty sure you've heard of this acronym, Pemdas. But since we're reviewing, let's go through each item here. P stands for parentheses or symbols of grouping, brackets, braces. E stands for exponents. M is for multiplication. D is for division. A is addition. And S is for subtraction. All right, let me just point out, or let me emphasize that M and D are on the same level. So if you encounter multiplication and division at the same time, uh, you'll have to do them not necessarily multiplication first followed by division, or division before multiplication. When you're they are on the same level, so you simplify multiplication and division from left to right. The same rule applies for addition and subtraction. You do the simplification from left to right, but they are on the same level. Now this problem involves isolating a variable. So for simplification purposes, you use Pemdas. So you're going in that direction. However, for isolating variables, you do the reverse of Pemdas. You do the reverse. You undo each of these operations, starting from additional subtraction, and then uh, going back until you have removed the parentheses. Now, in this particular problem, although addition and subtraction is mentioned here first because we're going to reverse it, you don't actually remove this first. Why is that? Because the numerator, if we convert it to this symbol, is enclosed in a parenthesis. All right, which means the addition is more closely attached to x. And the one that's more loosely attached to x is the division part. This is more loosely attached. All right, because the way you isolate a variable is you take out first what is most loosely attached to the variable that you're solving, and in this case that would be 7, which is connected by division. As I've said, it's not addition first because this is closely connected to x due to the presence of the parentheses. You don't see the parentheses when you're using a fraction bar, but it's there. It's invisible. That's why I had to convert it to this notation so that you'll see the presence of the parentheses. And that's equal to 24. All right. So in order to undo division, we multiply. We always do the inverse operation. We do the inverse operation. So we multiply the left side by 7, and we multiply the right side also by 7. That's one of the properties of equality that you have to apply all the time. All right. Whatever you do on the left side, you have to do on the right side. All right. That's because an equation is just like an equal arm balance in your chemistry. You've seen an equal arm balance like this, right? If you want to keep this balance, you have to make sure that whatever you put here, you balance with the same weight on the other side so that it will always be on the level. If you take away something here and don't do anything on the other side, it's going to be lopsided, right? Because this side will be lighter. It's going to be like that. A mathematical equation is exactly like that. It works like an equal arm balance. That's what the equal sign stands for, right? That's the fulcrum of this equal arm balance. All right, now let's continue. So on the left side, the 7 will cancel with the 7. So that will release the parentheses now, since uh, there's nothing to be kept together. So we can now remove. So I'll show it here in the next step here. We can now remove the parentheses, and that becomes x plus 33 is equal to 24 times 7, that would be 168. You're not allowed to use calculator, so you're supposed to do this manually. All right, and then the next step, of course, there's only addition to be dealt with here. So transpose this to the other side. You're actually applying the addition property of equality. It's like adding negative 33 to both sides. You add negative 33 to both sides. All right, that's the addition property of equality. So positive 33 and negative 33 will cancel out. And on the other side, you'll get 8 minus 3 is 5. And 16, well, this is 8 minus 3, 6 minus 3 is 3. And there's a 1 there. So that's 135. Now don't stop here. In some questions, 135 might be offered as a trap answer. Luckily for you, it's not here among the choices. So you know it cannot be 135. But in some questions, you might fall for a trap. All right. And that's one thing I'd like to point out here. When you're solving for x, any x, after you find its value, don't immediately pick the value of x among the choices. Never do that. Never. All right. The reason, as I've said, is that usually trap answers are included in the choices, among the choices. So in order not to fall for that mistake, make sure that you read the question. Make sure you know what your x represents. Here, it represents the average of 5 numbers. And therefore, you're not done yet. You have to apply the average formula. So what did we get here? Here, we simply got the average of 5. We got the sum of 5 numbers. So we go back to this formula. We plug in the sum, 135, and divide it by 5. Because there are 5 numbers that make up 135. And this would give you, that will give you 13 by 5 is 2, 35 by 5 is 7. All right. So this answer matches the choice that they have given. All right, so that's how this solution goes. Now, I'm going to show you another method of solving this problem. This time, I won't use algebra. Don't think that you always have to use algebra in solving problems in the exam. Sometimes, an arithmetic solution is more convenient to use. It's clearer. All right, let me point out what I'm trying to say. So let's go back to the formula that we had earlier. Average is equal to sum divided by the number of terms. All right. Now, there's another formula which comes from this formula, but which is often ignored by students. You get this formula by cross-multiplying n to the average. All right. Or you multiply both sides by n. So what you'll get here is average times n. This is a very useful formula, especially when you are dealing with weighted average. All right? And you're dealing with weighted average. As in this case, you could have worked this out using weighted average, which goes like this. All right. So when you're given averages, you can convert them to sums. So instead of directly solving for the average, we use the sums. So I'm going to write down this problem using the sums. Of course, when you compute for the sum, you use this formula, average times n. But that's given in the problem. All right. Now let me set up first the original formula in order to solve this problem. There are 7 numbers, so that would go on the other side. S sub 7, that means the sum of 7 numbers, is equal to the smallest and the largest are just 2 numbers. So that's, you can get the sum of 2 numbers and you add it to the sum of 5 numbers. Since you're interested in the middle 5 numbers, you're interested in this average, and you're going to get that from the sum here. All right, so this is actually a weighted average. The first sum has 2 numbers in it, the smallest and the largest. The second sum has 5 numbers in it. And all the numbers put together are 7. It's easy to verify that. You just look at the subscripts. So this represents the sum of 2 numbers plus the sum of 5 numbers is equal to the sum of 7 numbers. Now let's use the average in order to find these sums. So the sum of 2 numbers, that refers to the smallest and the largest. So that would simply be sum of 2 numbers is 2 plus 31. Since they're given, it's not given as an average. The numbers are given. So this is the sum of 2 numbers plus the sum of 5 numbers. Now the sum of 5 numbers, since you don't know what the numbers are, then that's what's missing here. Or better, let's see, let's change the approach. Where are you?